I'm very streaming this in the team page, as well as obviously we've got it up on Zoom, and we'll be recording. So first of all, let's text our team and say, get on the call because we're so excited about tonight. Now, I want to give a quick intro because I know Jess has another call after this, but you guys, I'm just going to really quickly, I just have to give Jess, I want you guys to really get excited. If you don't already know Jess, which I know probably a lot of you guys do, but I'm a firm believer that we can really learn from people. Whoa, okay, I just got a feral cat, 2 of them, by the way. I don't know if you guys just caught that cat jump up on the screen. We'll put you back there, we're fine. Might be some crazy stuff going on this Zoom, but I'm a firm believer that you can learn from the people that are in the game, right? Type of yes if you can agree to that. You want to listen to the people who are achieving what you want to achieve, right? I've never got anywhere listening to the people I don't want to trade places with in the business that we're in, So Jess is killing it. She's newly promoted to triple diamond, which is, over 6 figures a year, which is crazy. $100,000 a year plus from your phone, sign me up. And, lots of cool things happening. I'm really inspired by you, Jess. I watched you at Green Carpet. I know you just bought a home. You're just young and killing it. And so I think that everybody is just so excited to hear from you. We have very specific questions for you, but really appreciate your time. And I would love if you could just start with your story. How did you find this business? Kind of what led you here? And then we'll just go into some questions that we got.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi guys, I'm Jess. I'm a triple diamond. I've been with It Works for 4.5 years. It'll be 5 years in December. I really feel like It Works found me because I'd never heard of anything like this. I'd never heard of network marketing. I had never heard of It Works or any other network marketing company for that matter. But I was 22 whenever I joined. I had just graduated from college about 6 months prior. I had just gotten my big girl job as a geologist because that's what I went to school for. And I remember, I would say this is 4 months before I joined It Works. I remember getting my first big girl job paycheck. And I was like, what is this? I thought I signed a contract for a good salary. What is this paycheck? And I was like, oh, maybe it's just because it's my first one. The next one will be bigger. Well, of course, the next one was not bigger. It was the exact same. And I was living in my parents' basement. After college, I went away for college, came back, living in my parents' basement. And I was expecting to be able to do things. I thought I was going to be able to move out. If you guys don't know, my boyfriend and I, we started dating when we were in high school. And I immediately went to college, right after we started dating. He went to separate colleges because we played sports in college. So we did long distance for 5 years. So I remember when I graduated, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to see him all the time. And I quickly realized that was so far from the truth. First of all, I couldn't afford to take off work. I couldn't afford to go drive and see him and do things on the weekends that I did have off. And on top of that, I also wanted to move out of my parents' basement. I had student debt. I had bills that I had to pay outside of just normal house bills. And when I was getting those first couple paychecks, I'm like, what is this? I knew I needed more. So I ended up picking up a part-time job as a softball coach. So I was doing that whenever I wasn't being a geologist, I was being a softball coach. So literally working 7 days a week at 22 years old, it was the least amount of freedom I think I've ever had in my entire life. And I was just I needed more money. I still couldn't afford to move out. I still was kind of behind on my bills. My parents were helping me and I was just sick of it. I'm I'm 22. I just spent all this time in college. I need more. I deserve more. And so I remember Googling ways to work from home. I was about to teach kids how to speak English, kids in China over Zoom, how to speak English for extra money. But it was really funny because around that same time that I was Googling how to do things like that, I got a message from a girl on Instagram about the products and I was like, screw that. But I immediately went to her Instagram story and I saw she was making money from her phone. And I was like, wait, I need to make money from my phone. So I literally signed up. I say immediately, I had to wait till payday, but I signed up immediately and I joined December 17th of 2018. So I joined in December and I just joined knowing I wanted to make a full-time income. I didn't join for a couple extra $100. I didn't join for 500 or even 100. I joined for 2,000. That was my goal. And so when I joined, I was just I'm going to do everything. Funny enough, it took me a month and a half to sign my first customer. Took me 2 months to sign my first distributor, or about 2 months to sign my first distributor. But here's the thing, I signed both of those at my very first conference that I went to a month and a half into my business, which is something that you guys, you have to get to conference. It's life-changing. I remember when I joined, I knew I wanted to make a full-time income. I kept popping on Zooms like this. I kept seeing things at our team page, and everyone was talking about conference and how it changes your life. So I'm like, listen, I want my life to change, so I'm going to do it. Put it on a credit card, ate McDonald's, slept on a floor, went to conference, and it changed my life. Signed my first distributor literally at conference, and I left conference and I immediately went, that was at the end of January. In February, I went executive in Ruby that very next month. In March, I went Emerald, and I'm like, I'm on this train, like I'm going diamond. But I didn't go diamond. And I'm like, okay, next month. And I still didn't go diamond. And I actually pushed for diamond for 10 months consecutively, like literally fighting tooth and nail, working my butt off for 10 straight months. And I remember like just feeling defeated at times, but I also knew I joined this for a full-time income. And like, I always make this funny joke, but it's so true. In that time, I was like, I'm literally willing to cut off like the right side of my body to be successful in this. And I knew that I would never quit. Like, I'm either going to die or something else, but I'm never going to quit. And so I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. And at our next conference, I actually promoted to diamond, and I got a $15,000 bonus. 2 months later, I promoted to double, got I think it was like 20,000. Yeah, it was a $20,000 bonus. And I took my boyfriend's account diamond too. So collectively within like 2 months, 3 months, we picked up like $50,000 worth of bonuses. At that point in time, so about a year and a few months into my business, picked up, moved out of my parents' basement, paid off all of my debt and TJ's debt, which is my boyfriend, all of our debt that we had from school and stuff, paid it off all in full, picked up, moved out of my parents' basement, all the way to Florida, where we live now. And I feel like the story goes on. I usually stop after we move to Florida, but the story goes on. So I went double, moved to Florida, and I'm like, all right, that's it. Like, I'm still on this train. I'm going triple. And I didn't. I went double in 2020. I'm like, I'm going triple. And I didn't. I'm like, okay, it's fine. 2021, I'm going triple. And I didn't. 2022, I'm going triple. And I didn't. I didn't go triple diamond until April of this year. It was actually exactly 3 years and 1 day to the dot of me going double diamond, and our team went triple. But it just takes me back to, whenever I was pushing from emerald to diamond, like I fought tooth and nail every single day of those 3 years in 1 day. I fought tooth and nail every single day of those 10 months that I was pushing from emerald to diamond. And I'm just excited for what's next, because I know, like, after a really long waiting period, amazing things are on the other side of that. But yes, we've been able to do incredible things. Obviously, moved to Florida, pay off all of our debt. I actually brought my boyfriend home full time, and he does this with me, which I love so much, because we did do long distance for so long. We bought our dream car in cash, which was something super exciting that we did about 2 years ago. And then we did just purchase our first home.
Okay, I'm like so inspired. I hear this all the time. Okay, I feel like I've like heard your story so much, but I'm like, yes. First thing I wrote down was, can we just all take note at how 22 you felt like I have to, like, I'm like, at 22, I barely even remember my middle name. Okay, like, so we just give a props for that, for one. Okay, for two, I think it's so interesting how you said that somebody messaged you for products. You said no. Okay, I want you guys to feel like, how many of you guys get so discouraged because somebody says no to you, or they leave you on red, or they said no to your product? And then it's like, that's where most people quit, right? And you don't this is also what I know. People don't hard quit. They silently quit. They just stop doing the things. But if that person stopped doing the things, whoever signed you, when you went to their page, you would have missed the opportunity, and you probably wouldn't be here. And so it's just crazy to think that, like, every closed door that you feel is closing on you, or every no that you get, it could literally be a Jess Wireman on the other side. Like, will you open the door? Like, will you stay consistent, please? Okay. Now, one question that I have is, you said that it was a long time for you that, guys, put a 1 if you have a goal, whether it's Ruby, put your goal in the chat, whatever it is you're going for. Okay. Like, what are you going for right now? Jess, you had a long period of time where you were going for a goal and missed it. 2 questions. What made you not give up? Because a lot of people quit on their goal. But number 2, what was the shift that you made that actually took you on that run to triple?
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I muted myself. I'm going to talk about my first waiting period because that was from Emerald to Diamond, and that felt like an eternity. And then I'll talk about my next waiting period because I feel like they're a little bit different. I was a little bit more mature in the business. I was a little bit more mature like in my faith as well. So that first waiting period from Emerald to Diamond, it was like 10 agonizing months, it felt like. But I never quit because I'm just simply not a quitter. Like I'll never quit on anything that I do. Here's the thing, you guys, you see people talking on Zooms. This is what it was for me. I saw people talking on Zooms. I was and still am absolutely infatuated with my leader, Cassie Westland. And I saw so many people being successful with this. And I always thought to myself, like, I mean, if they can do it, why would I quit? Like at the end of the day, another cool thing about conference too, was I got to see these people in person. And while like I look up to them so much, I'm like, they're just normal people. Like they just have normal lives. They just work hard. And so I saw them, I'm like, they're just normal people. Why would I quit? I could be where they are. If I quit, I'll never be where they're like ever. Like I remember my cap out. I remember whenever I was a geologist, you guys, I remember meeting with someone from another office and I was like young and excited and I was like, yeah, I want to make $100,000. And they laughed at me. They literally laughed at me and they're like, good luck. Go ahead and have like 15 years of experience and a master's degree and like a PhD. And I'm like, are you serious? And so I knew like if I quit, I'll never be able to make the amount of money that Cassie's making, that Jackie's making, that so many people that we look up to. If you quit, you'll never make that anywhere else. And so I knew that, and I just refused to quit. Like in a world where so many people let us down, like drop a 1 in the chat if you've ever been let down by someone. We all have. Our family, our friends, our spouses, our kids, strangers, grocery store clerks, like we've been let down by so many people our entire lives. Why on earth would you let yourself down? By quitting. So that's why I never quit the first time around. The second big long waiting period, that was a big long waiting period. 3 years in one day, you guys, that was like even more agonizing than I thought my first waiting period was. It was 3 long years and I never quit because I knew that what I was capable of. At the end of the day, we're all brought here for a reason. We're not brought here by mistake. God makes no mistakes. And I knew that. And it was just staying like faithful in that waiting period and knowing like my time was coming. It just wasn't right now. And I'm so grateful for that because the team that I went triple with was nowhere near my double team a year ago. Like my team a year ago, at this point in time, I'll just say 2 years ago, at this point in time, 2 years ago, I hadn't even signed like my biggest leg. I didn't sign my biggest leg until like a year and 2 months before I went triple. And so I knew that like my time was coming. And in that waiting season, I just knew like this is a growth season because something better is coming. And you know what? I'm not even mad about it taking me 3 years and a day to go triple diamond because I've got the biggest bonuses that It Works has had in years because I was faithful in that waiting period. And I also got an incredible team, an incredible corporate team. Like, I'm so grateful I didn't go triple years ago because I wouldn't have the Alcalas as like our corporate team. And so honestly, I just like refuse to quit on myself. I feel like it's embarrassing. I'm like self-reflection embarrassed if I do quit on something, and I just refuse to feel that way. And I just know at the end of the day, like so many people in this business are successful. So many people go ambassador, so many people go presidential, so many people go triple diamond. Like, why the heck not me? You're telling me all I have to do is work hard and not quit? I can do that.
Wow, that's such a good picture that you've painted because it really, being in this business for 6 years, I look back and you look at all these like moments of like you said, being let down, or like temporary defeat where somebody quits or somebody says something to you and you're like, man, that really almost took me out. Or like, maybe I hate the term like rebuilding, because it's simply just, we're always building, so it's like you're doing patchwork somewhere in your organization and you think it's the end, and then you really have two things that you can focus on. You can focus on every person that's not, and you can focus on everything that's going wrong and like literally fester yourself into a hole and quite literally die there. Or you can just decide like nothing can alter what you can control. Like if you take complete ownership of, this is my chart, this is where I'm going, and knowing that, this person quitting, like one person can come in and change your whole business. Isn't that crazy? Like Cassie messaged you to become a product tester, and now you're triple diamond, which is 1% of the company, earning well over $100,000 a year. What if Cassie was all like, I'm not going to work for a week because someone told me no? Like, this is the power of not quitting. And I feel like, I don't know who needs to hear this. Nobody quits network marketing. Everyone silent quits, which means they stop doing the things in the background that will stop the people like Jess from coming in. So crazy. Okay. Biggest question we had, sorry, I'm going to be like jumping all over here, is what is your daily list? So let's talk to somebody right now that wants to go diamond. What would you recommend they do every single day, non-negotiable?
Yeah, so hard. It looks different every single day. My non-negotiables every single day though are, I'm going to be posting on my story multiple times a day. I post coffee in the morning. I'll post now our hair care or another product, and I post about the business opportunity on my story every single day. I could go to my Instagram archives and look at the last 4.5 years on Instagram. There's never been a single day that I didn't post on my story. I take that back. There was one day. It was because we had a hurricane and we lost all cell service in the state of Florida. But that was the only day in my 4.5 years that I've never posted on my story. So that's first and foremost. Second thing is I'm also sharing my everyday life. So you guys may look at my Instagram story and you're probably like, oh my God, like she's doing so much every single day. But I would say like 50% of those stories are actually fake stories. So like I'll go back and I take pictures everywhere I go, like pictures of the trees, pictures of my food, pictures of like the grocery store, whatever, pictures of my dogs. And I like, if I have a day where I'm just sitting at home and I'm not doing anything, I'm posting those in between the slides of like, I'll post my coffee and then I post some normal stuff, and then I'll post business, and then I'll post some normal stuff, and then I'll post my hair, the hairline, and then I'll post some normal stuff. That way it's not like product, business, product, because that gets boring. That's what makes your story views go low. People want to see your everyday life, and it's social media. They don't know if it's fake or not. So that's first and foremost, is posting there. Next is posting on my TikTok, minimum of 3 times a day. And then I also post on Reels. So I'm just like weird about aesthetics. So I actually like make specific ones for Instagram and Facebook Reels and specific ones for TikTok. I have the time to do that. If you're working, I used to just bring them over from TikTok and it was super easy. I'm just like weird about it. It's like, you don't have to do that. I'm just weird about it, but minimum of 3 TikToks a day. I'm going to do business, I'm going to do normal, and I'm going to do a product. We do also do giveaway on TikTok, but I don't love it. I like it. I don't love it because when they go viral, like there's no stopping them. So I had one, I actually took it down, but it had like 800,000 views from last month about the giveaway. And it just like, it brings in so many people, and that's where I'm so grateful for it. But sometimes people are crazy when they don't win the money, especially coming from TikTok. Like, I don't know. I love it so much more, but I will do giveaway TikToks every once in a while on TikTok, but for sure, excuse me, we have mold in our house and we're actually moving out until our house is built. So struggling through that. It's fine though. But 3 TikToks a day. And that's it. And then I also work Facebook. So I work Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. So I work Facebook. I'm getting up. It depends on the day. If I have a TikTok blowing up, then I'm not going to like try and stretch myself. But if my TikToks like aren't really doing anything and messages aren't really flooding in from them, then I'm going to be working Facebook posts hard. I'm going to get up a minimum of 10 a day. I also will message for products on Facebook. And then another thing that I do on Instagram is I will message for products and distributors on Instagram as well. When it comes to messaging, you guys, a rule of thumb is like my goal every single day is like 50 new conversations. I don't care if 25 come from Facebook and 25 come from Instagram, or 50 from one, or like 10 from one, 40 from another. Like, I'm just trying to start as many new conversations as I can. I love messaging. And the reason why I love messaging is because I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have been messaged. So I'm shooting for that. And then I also grow my network. So I'm friending on Facebook. I'm trying to do like 10. My Facebook's like really glitchy. So I'm trying to do 10 every like 2-3 hours. And then I'm also following on Instagram. So I have 2 Instagrams. Some of you may know, if you search Jessica Wireman, I think my second one comes up, but I'm friending on my second one, which is like a smaller account. And then my big one grows organically from my TikTok. But that gives me people to message, which is really nice. But yeah, that's like, oh, and then I guess, so that's like a work side of what I do. But obviously I know there's a ton of leaders on here. So leadership side of what I do is I'm checking in with my girls every single day, especially like my new babies, checking in with them every single day, continuing with their training, doing FaceTime calls. My girls know that like, I don't even use the word one-on-one anymore because I feel like it got like scary and like too formal. So I'm like, hey, when can you FaceTime? And I'll FaceTime them, talk to them. If they're having troubles with stuff, I'll get them situated with that. Leaders, I'm always talking to them, getting their chart, going over their chart and like filling in volume where we need it, helping them make moves and doing Zooms.
So, okay, I love this. And it's so crazy because I feel like over the years having you on like our team Zoom, I'm like, her plan hasn't changed, you guys. She's doing the same thing. Like there's power in doing the same thing over and over and over again. When I hear Jess talk, I'm hearing, okay, like she runs into the same problems you are, right? Like, oh, her Facebook's acting crazy. Okay, she's going to do 10 at a time. Okay, she's not having people flood to her. What can Jess control? If she can't control people coming from Reels, but what can she control? I'm going to have 50 new conversations. I'm going to get up 10 hacks a day minimum. And it's the magic of doing these things every day is what I want you guys to understand the most. This is where the magic comes in. Okay, now really quick, I'd love to know, like one of the questions we had was, how you're duplicating success with your team. I know you talked about doing launch, phone FaceTime calls. Can you talk a little bit about how you're training your newest people to get their 4-in-1?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just building friendships with them. Like honestly, just building friendships with them and encouraging them for every little thing that they do. Like if they type out a 3-word caption and it's like terrible, I'm gonna be like, girl, you did that, like that was amazing, you better post that right now. Like just like flooding them with excitement and praising them because this is something new, this is something scary. And then obviously building that relationship with them. FaceTime helps a lot. Like on the phone, I had a first time one-on-one with a girl today. We had the mold people just leave. I had some dehumidifier that's supposed to help it in the background. Like, listen, I'm sorry. Like this is the crazy, like just being friends with them. So I feel like that helps the most, is just being friendly with them. And then I'm also like, people quit on me every single day, silent quit. Just kind of like, don't text me, but like that happens to me all the time. I think that it's easy to look at me and look at my team and think like, nobody quits her. Yeah, people quit all the time. Like I sign duds far more than I sign incredible people. That's just how the business is. Unfortunately, not a lot of people work hard these days, but I'm not going to let those people who don't work hard stop me from working hard with the people who want to be here. So I just kind of let them go. And that allows me to have more time, energy, and effort and focus on the people who do want to be here. Even the slow people, I still love on the slow people. And I love just as hard as I love on the fast people, and just like helping them, guiding them. Because at the end of the day, I was technically a slow person, but I worked my butt off every single day. It just took me a while. And then once I signed that first customer, I felt like it was like game over. So just building that friendship is truly what's most important. Like I said, whenever I was talking at Green Carpet, this goes for customers, distributors, people on the side of the road, like anything in your life, you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. So if you mess up their training or you slip up a word or you send something twice, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, and you can never say the right thing to the wrong person either. So when distributors try and quit, honestly, I used to fight it so much and I used to like beg them to stay. And if I know a girl is good and she's just spooked because some Karen on Facebook was like a brat, then obviously I'm going to help her through that. But if they're, and I realize it, like drop a 2 in the chat if people have tried to quit and you're like, no, please don't. But deep down inside, you knew they were just lazy. I'm not going to waste my time on that. I'm going to let them go so that this girl who's just like me, who's just like hungry for success, she's a busy schedule, that allows me more time to be with her. So I'm just like, I mean, if you want to quit on yourself, go ahead. Goodbye. And just really building those relationships and like being friends with them.
I love that. And when we were talking, it reminds me, I was listening to the 10X mentor today, and one of the chapters he talks about, like, people would ask Grant Cardone, like, how do you get your people to show up at your office early and stay late? And like, how do you actually get people to work? Obviously, completely different industry, but he's like, because that's what I do. Right. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to have a team that you're leading, I think a lot of us have to turn around and ask ourselves, like, if my team was full of me's, would we be a diamond? Right. And it's like, when you can put the energy, like, I'm doing this with or without anybody, like, I don't care what anybody else does, I'm going. I don't care what my mom says, I don't care what my husband says, I don't care what the person on the internet says, I'm going. Like, you attract those type of people. So let's kind of shift to enrolling distributors. I feel like this is something that people really want to do more of. What would be your biggest tip for somebody that is not, maybe hasn't seen the success yet? They're new to social media. How would you teach them to attract people to their business?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the first thing is like, are you sharing your excitement? Are you sharing your wins? I don't care if your win is I'm going to be open and honest, you guys. My first paycheck was $17 and I cried because I was so happy, because I was like, oh my gosh, I just made $17 from my cell phone. I could make that 1,700. I could make that 17,000. I could make that 170,000. Like, I just made and so like I could probably buy, like, I don't know, a McDonald's meal. But you bet your butt, I was posting on my Instagram and I was like, I love when my social media biz picks up lunch, like wherever that was at that time, back in 2018, 2019, things were a little bit cheaper, but I like posted about it. If it's filling up your gas tank once in a month, that's still massive. If it's the fact that you have friends who actually care about you, that's a win right there. Share that, because I'll tell you what, so many people like don't realize that people who join and they don't see success right away, but they're still here. They're here because of the community. I know that there's so many leaders on our team who didn't quit because of the community. And guess what? The money came later. And so just the fact that you have a community that cares about you, because before this opportunity, I didn't. I went away for college. I came back. I was living in my parents' basement. My friends from high school were like, whatever, didn't stay in contact with them, didn't care to. There was nobody around me who had like aspirations of more like I did, even before the business. It was just me and my parents. Like, I had no community, I had no friends. And I found this opportunity and I had friends, and I would post about that. I post about the community to this day. And so many people, I feel like, flock to me, obviously because of the making money aspect, but also the community. So are you sharing your wins? If not, start sharing your wins. Like I said, I don't care if it's a 50-cent candy bar at the gas station. There's a girl out there that can't afford that 50-cent candy bar at the gas station. So sharing your wins. And then another thing too is, like, I like to do this, and I actually meant to say this at Green Carpet and I didn't. So you guys are getting it. But when it comes to my social media, I obviously talked about things on my social media platform or the social media panel, but I want my Instagram to look good, but I don't want it to look perfect, right? So I'll share myself like looking busted in the morning, but like, I'm going to make it cute, right? Like this morning, my dog, he's like so dirty. And I had like no makeup on, but he's like my best friend. So I like took a picture, but I also want my Instagram to look good, because I want people to come to my page and think, oh my God, I want the life that she has, but I can get it, because like there's still some realness and rawness to it. I don't want it to be like too perfect to where people come to my page and they're like, I want the life that she wants, but she's too perfect, I could never. Like, I want you guys to like, if you look at your social media, like, would you join you? Is it just products? Is it like spammy posts? Is it like a little like, would you join you? Like, ask yourself that. And then also like figure out like, why did you join? I joined because I saw something on someone's story and they messaged me. So guess what I'm doing in my business? I'm messaging people and I am for sure posting on my story. Another big way that I get distributors is TikTok. But here's the thing, because I'm so active on my Instagram, and like drop what you work most on, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, drop that in the chat just so I know, because I also get distributors from Facebook, but kind of in a different way. But I'm so active on my Instagram that when people come over from TikTok, they're like, oh, like this girl is legit. Like nobody ever questions the legitimacy. Like I get this question all the time. How do I know it's not a scam? I'm like, first of all, like if it was a scam, would I tell you that it's a scam? I mean, it's so dumb, but I literally tell them, I'm like, look at my Instagram. Like, do you really think it's a scam? So I get a lot of people coming from TikTok. I'm seeing Facebook and Instagram. Okay. So when it comes to Facebook, you can do Facebook host posts, but here's the thing. I feel like I get a lot of weird people when I do Facebook host posts for DTs. What I like to do is friend request and message. I will DT cold message, but also like look at your Facebook market that you have now. Start adding friends, just continue to grow your network. That's what I love doing. And then people will see your life posts. They'll see your 50-cent candy bar that you got to get. They'll see a picture of your dog. They'll start to get to know you, and then send them if they look like they'd be someone who would kill it on your team, like freaking send them a message. What's the worst that they can say? No, they hadn't joined anyways. So I love to get DTs kind of in all those. They kind of like come from everywhere.
Yeah, I love that you said that. And I think too, like it really is understanding that all of these things work together. You know what I mean? This is the circle of life and business, because if you're messaging, but you're not posting, when they look at your page, that's where it leaves room to say, well, this is a scam. If you're posting and not messaging, nobody even sees you. And so it's all these things together, but then it's also realizing that not everyone joins do you guys know that I listened to this in a chapter today, 2% of sales are made on the first contact. Do you know that 12% of people even follow up 3 times, and then most percentage of sales are made after the 7th contact? So it made me realize in this industry how much we churn and burn, and how much we're actually just always fishing for new, when in reality that should be a portion of our time, but also it's the follow-up of what we've all done, right? What we've already done. So you're posting, Jess, obviously is a form of follow-up, because if somebody has left you on red, but there you are again, making your coffee, there you are again, talking about the business, there we go. What's your other form of follow-up? Like, do you have a system where you have leads in a book and you're messaging them, or how do you do that?
Yeah, I'm like super ADHD, so I'm not super organized. I've tried everything, tried writing them down. I've tried like saving them in calendars. Like I did what Courtney did for a while, but I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if I get bored of it or what. But the best way that's worked for me for a while now is I actually, so I'm talking about on Instagram, on Facebook, I do this as well, but I will go to their profile and I copy their profile link down and I put it in a note in my notes app. I have one for customers, one for distributors. So I do that. And I do that, usually go through that on like Fridays, but throughout the week, I follow up with people every single day. So every morning I try and get up before my team. Every single morning, like after I do my devotionals and my self-development, I'm drinking my coffee, doing things, but I usually start my day with follow-ups. I'll go through my text messages, follow up with everyone that I spoke to yesterday that left me on red. I'll go through my Facebook messages, follow up with everyone who left me on red, go through my Instagram messages and do the same thing, follow up with everyone who left me on red. I don't have any like special follow-up method other than that. Like I just follow up every single day. Whatever follow-up I use is like whatever one I decide for the day. Like it's just like luck of the draw. Like whatever feels good that day is the one that I use. Well, I don't care if people get annoyed at me, because I saw that in the chat, and I'm glad that you mentioned, I don't care, because here's the thing, go look at your email right now. If I didn't clear out my email, I'd probably have 50,000 emails, and they're all follow-up emails. And if I search them by, let's just say American Eagle, if I searched American Eagle, I easily have 1,500 emails of them following up with me. Am I annoyed? No, I just like ignore it. I just move on until I'm finally ready to buy. If someone gets mad at you for following up with them, it's not a you problem, it's a them problem. They probably had a bad day, or they just have like a bad attitude or something. And I don't want them on my page anyway. So I remove them or I'll block them. Goodbye.
I love it. I just feel like people need to hear this sometimes. We're like, what, because it's valid, right? Like I mean, you just care less and less. It's like you just care less and less as time goes on. You're like, actually, I'm not trying to say they're trash, but let the trash take, like, it's one less job for me. You know what I mean? We got 5,000 spaces for friends here, and we don't need that negativity. So, okay, you've been in this company for years. A lot of people have just started. Guys, drop it in the chat how long you've been in, by the way. I would just like to see. There's been a lot of shifts like happening, and I feel like green carpet was so good because it just felt real. I don't know, it was like, oh my gosh, like so much excitement and vision for where we're going. I had this realization that anybody that is joining It Works right now, you literally have everything that you need to run and change your life in the next 6 months substantially. Give us some vision on like what could happen for someone if for 6 months they just committed. Like, what are you excited about within It Works right now?
Yeah, for sure. So if you just joined recently, I'm seeing like a week, almost a month. I'm 3 months, 4 days. I'm so jealous of you because first of all, we didn't have the program that we have now with the 4-in-1s. Like y'all, my first paycheck was $17. Like at that point, I probably would have had like a 4-in-1. Like it could have been $167 and it was 17 had we had 4-in-1s at that point. Take advantage of this quick start program that we have. Take advantage of the 4-in-1s, take advantage of the builder bonuses. Those builder bonuses, like it is so easy to come in and know like, okay, all I really need to focus on is 4-in-1, and I'm going to help people do their 4-in-1s. Like that's all you need to focus on. You don't have to worry about anything else. And you do that, you're going to pretty much be Ruby. You keep doing that, you're going to have an $800 bonus plus a $500 bonus because you went Ruby. And at that point, you're teaching other people how to do the same thing. So you might as well pick up that $1,000 bonus. And at that point, like you're teaching those people who are teaching those people. So you might as well pick up a diamond bonus, which is $10,000. And the next 6 months, you could change your life. Like with this opportunity, there's so much money to be made in the very beginning. And so if you're brand new, take advantage of that, because I didn't have that. And within 6 months, I left my full-time job as a geologist. Had we had the quick start program, honey, I would have been gone after like 2 months. But we didn't. So just like run with this. If there's anything, I always like to do this for new distributors too. I always tell my new girls too, when we get on FaceTimes, I'm like, tell me your goals, like tell me all of the things. So everyone who just joined, especially within the last month, couple weeks, couple days, I want you to think about when you press like start now on my business on that last page, and as it's loading and then John and Sherry Lynn are popping up, you thought about something in that moment. It's almost like a vision that crosses your mind. Like I still feel like I can see mine vividly of like, I don't know, just like, I think it was like a feeling of like what I was going to feel like when I was finally free, financially free, free to do what I want every single day, all of the things. So think about that feeling or that vision or that goal that you had when you were in the conversation, when you were filling out your info, about to press join now. Remember that. Remember that that is almost like your lucky crystal ball as to what your life will look like because of this opportunity. Like I said earlier, you weren't brought here by accident. This was no coincidence. It was not a coinkydink. Like you were brought here for a really special reason. And it was because that dream is so strong on your heart. Remember that every single day. Remember that when people say no. Remember that when I saw someone put in the chat about, it's like people that they know. Well, that Steve Jobs literally said, or it was Elon Musk. I don't know. They're both incredible and billionaires. But well, I think it was actually Elon Musk. He said, start a business and you'll find out who your real friends are. At the end of the day, I think about my very best friend. And if she said, Jess, I'm going to sell dirt because I really want to change my life, I'd be like, I have tomato plants. Like, I'll buy some dirt from you. Like, I will support you. Post about your dirt. I love your dirt. It's the softest dirt I've ever touched. Like, if that's and I love her like she's my sister. And if someone doesn't feel that way about you, they're not supposed to be in your circle. Goodbye. But some of the most successful people that literally have ever existed had said these things. Like, if you want to find out who your real friends are, start a business. You'll find out who your real friends are. And maybe there was someone who you thought was your real friend and they weren't. Goodbye. They're not supposed to be in your life. And sometimes it takes an opportunity like this to realize that. But just run with this opportunity. You have your hands on literal gold. And the cool thing is, like, you're the driver of this bus. Like, you get to decide where you're going to go. Not me, not your enroller, not Jackie, not even our corporate team. They have literally given you everything, far more than I ever had. And I was able to make it. And I'm going to say this, Jackie, you probably had even less than I had when I started. It's so incredible because our company is always evolving and giving us more, especially as new distributors. Take advantage, exploit the system. Like, they have given you like everything that you need. Exploit it, make as much money as you want, but work hard and know that your hard work, everything that you lay your hands to is blessed and your hard work will pay off.
Dude, well, this has been so good. Guys, drop it in the chat if you've learned something tonight, like if you're inspired. You guys, at the end of the day, I just feel like we know what to do, okay? Like, if you're feeling lost and confused, open your It Works app, plug into the road to VIP, like, plug in, right? Get around the fire, because at the end of the day, what Jess has said is very, very simple. You already have it in you to make it happen. The only difference between you and Jess, or you and anybody, is the time that you've spent, right? This is not a social media highlight. This is like Jess inspires me walking across the stage as a triple diamond, but it doesn't really inspire me as much as what Jess did in the Valley when she didn't quit. Yeah. Can we agree with that? Like, we don't learn anything when we're winning. We learn when we're losing. And so decide right now, draw the line in the sand. And I'm excited to see where we go in the next 6 months. So Jess, I really appreciate your time tonight. I know you got a call coming up, so we said we'd make this short and sweet, but really appreciate your time and cheering you on to Ambassador.
Ambassador.
Yeah. All right, guys.
I did see something in the chat and I wanted to talk about this because they were like, I hope that you saw my question. So I'm sorry, you did that amazing closeout. And I'm like,
oh, no. Yeah, bring it up.
Someone said, any advice on how to keep up with the messages? I get technology overload super easy and I just can't. First of all, yes, you can. So I want you to think about your business. I want you to think about what you're capable of. It's almost like, as gross as it is, think about your stomach. So the more we eat, it can be uncomfortable. We get full and we get bloated and it's gross. But guess what? Our stomach can then handle more food, like it starts to expand. And so that's what happens. I was actually listening to a podcast with Ed Milet, and he was talking about this a couple of weeks ago. Like, the more that you do, there's going to be times where it's uncomfortable. Everything that I do in a day, it would probably take me like 4 or 5 days in the very beginning to do what I do in a day now. You're going to constantly expand, like your brain, your mind, what you're able to do is going to constantly be expanding when you're pushing it to its limits. So if you're pushing yourself to your limits, like, that's good. That's making you better. Staying comfortable, staying like within your little like comfort level of technology bubble is not going to help you grow in this business. It's not going to help you grow outside of this business either. So just remember, like, when you feel uncomfortable, when you feel overwhelmed, like when I feel overwhelmed, I get so excited because I'm like, I know that in this moment, like, yeah, it's a little bit painful, but I've like had that mindset switch where it's like, instead of being overwhelmed and like flipping the freak out, like, I get overwhelmed and I just can't help but to be grateful in that moment. because if you're not overwhelmed with the messages, that means your inbox is dry. So also remember, like, to be grateful that you have a lot of messages, because guess what? There could be someone who joined years before you whose phone isn't blowing up like yours. So knowing that, and knowing that when you are like pushing yourself, that you're only expanding yourself as well, to be able to handle that with ease. Because like I said, like, there's no way that I would have been able to do the things that I do in a day now 2 years ago, or like 4.5 years ago. So just remember that it does get easier. You just have to like keep expanding, and keep pushing yourself, obviously giving yourself a break whenever you need it. But like, being outside of that comfort zone bubble is like the most like freeing place to be. It's a little bit painful, I'm not gonna lie. It's like, it pinches a little bit, but it's such a good place to be. So find comfort in outside the comfort zone.
So good. So good. This is awesome. Well, I feel like I can't do that close again. Okay, listen, I'm a little socially awkward now. I'm supposed to do it again. Like, thank you. No, this was awesome. Really appreciate your time. So we'll get this up, and yeah, dude, we'll see you in April. Make sure you guys get your conference tickets. All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.